Hi guys, so here we have the second video and we're going to be looking at what is the difference between a mono audio track and a stereo audio track. Because when I say add audio track, it gives me the option to say configuration mono, stereo. It's got a bunch of other features which we're not going to go into, mostly for film creating and so on. But for audio production, we're looking at mono and stereo. And which one do I use for which application? Alright, so I'm going to show you the difference between adding a mono versus stereo. So let's add a mono, and I'm going to rename it mono, and I'm going to add a stereo as well. And we're going to then just click this on stereo and add that. Alright, so yeah, I've already got a track ready. So I'm going to move it in there, just delete that. So this would now be an example of you just doing a recording of your voice, microphone plugged into your audio interface, and there you go. This would now be the difference between did I add a mono channel when I recorded my voice, or whether I added a stereo channel and recorded my voice. Alright. When we do vocals like this, I can already tell you we're going to use a mono channel, because on your audio interface you are just using one input, one XLR input, and recording that. And even if we are sometimes using recording 2 or 3 or more, we're still going to add all mono tracks, but we'll add 3 or 4 or how many ever you need of duplicates of mono tracks instead of necessarily stereo tracks. But still, there are cases where we're going to be adding stereo tracks over mono tracks when we are actually recording. And I'm not talking about adding instrument tracks, group tracks, effects tracks, all those kind of things. Everything else we always add, it's stereo. If we add a group track, we want to set the configuration to stereo. If we add where's effect track, configuration stereo. That's the way we're going to do it. It's only when we record audio inputs from our interface that we might rather prefer the mono track. So there's a little icon here, you'll see it says mono, that little circle, and here it's got 2 little circles. And if I open my mixer, you'll see the same down here bottom left. 1 circle showing me it's a mono, and 2 little circles overlapping showing me it's stereo. Let me add a group track, for example, in stereo. There you see the same 2 little circles on group, and you'll see the same on effects as well. Alright, so I've got a little voice that I recorded myself. I'm just kidding, that's not me. Alright, and we're going to hear the difference between playing it from both of these tracks. Now let me drag it into the stereo and you hear the difference. Let's go back to mono. Exactly the same. There's literally not a difference yet. So the difference comes in when we start working. You'll see sometimes when we use effects, there are 2 ways. You know, the first way is to use your reverb plugin as a let me get just a nice little preset here going, as an insert over here. There you hear all the reverb. And the second way is to actually add an effects channel, add effect track, and having the reverb on that channel, and then we use the sends to send it to that effect track, right? So that's obviously the preferred way. But say you find yourself in a situation where you need a specific type of reverb for a specific channel only during a specific part of the song. It's a very strange, a short or a long reverb. You don't necessarily want to have an entire channel dedicated just for for effects, just for this channel during a small part. You just want to use a plugin as a reverb. Now here's where the problem comes. When we have a mono channel, and we use reverb as a plugin, your reverb will be mono. Now listen to reverb when it's mono. It's all in the center. If I was on a stereo track and my reverb was there, listen to this. Alright. Just pull down these levels slightly. Alright, you can clearly hear the difference. It sounds 3D, it sounds left, right, you know, as if you're in that space, whereas as if I was back to mono. And we can actually just play them side by side. Let's do this. Now you'll hear the mono and the stereo. And that's what we want. So that's the difference so far between a mono and a stereo channel, is when we use effects, whether it be reverb, delay, on the inserts. When you're using them on inserts on the mono bus, you'll hear the effects are mono, unfortunately. So, but again, like we said, that is not normally the way that we do effects. The normal way we do effects is we add effect track. And configuration, we just set a stereo, and that is where we're going to now choose our effect. So I can, because it's already on my project, I can just drag it over, and now we can remove it. So now my reverb is no longer on the specific channel, rather it's on its own effects track as an insert, and here I'm going to put the mix to 100. Alright, and now we use the sends, and we can send it to effect 1, and the same here. Turn it on. For now I'm going to just make it full so we can hear it. Alright, now listen to my mono. Now my mono is sounding the way it should. The reverb is coming out of a stereo bus. Alright, and even if I put it down to the stereo bus, the original stereo channel, it sounds the same. Alright, so that's the first difference between mono and stereo. They technically operate the same. The only difference is when I use inserts, the result of that insert is always going to be mono on a mono channel. But whereas if I've got a stereo channel, the result will be it got stereo effects and stereo stuff going on in there. A second thing that we can encounter, I'm going to remove all of this, because so far we've used mono signals, and in fact let's remove the effects channel as well. Right, brand new. Now I'm going to import two voices. Oh, come on, this is not the way. No, what's it doing now? Okay, hold on, let me quickly do this. Because I wanted to ask me. Oh, this is mono, no wonder. Add stereo track, or where was I? There. And there, I do not want to split these stereo channels. Alright, sorry about that. Here we go. So now you can see we've got something going on here. We have an audio file which is stereo, which means it's got information for the left and it's got information for the right, and these are not the same. You can clearly see there's a difference. I've got stuff on my left, stuff on the right. Now if I play this, this is the original voice that you just heard now, and this is a new different voice playing on the right. So listen to this. Let me just slightly drop it. Alright, other way around. This is the original one we heard, this is a new one. So you can hear this plays on the left, this plays on the right. Right. Now because it's a stereo channel, as we know, I can use my insert, reverb, and it's going to be stereo with an insert like this. When I would drop it, reverb is stereo. Great. Now, something that's different, as opposed to say we let's put that voice in there, and this is actually redo that. I want to split channels because I only want, there we go, a mono version. So here we've got a stereo track with 2 separates and a mono version with 1 file. And this is the new voice. Alright. Panning. This is where we're going to have a difference as well. If we listen to the mono channel, let's rename these so we can just keep track. So the mono channel, and you can see the circle mono, 2 circle stereo. If I pan, let's loop, just loop this. We find that the signal goes to the left output and to the right output. But that is not the case with a stereo channel like this. What actually happens in a stereo channel, when I pan left, it only plays the information on the left. And when I pan to the right, it only plays the information on the right. You see, with a mono channel, what it does, it takes all of the information together and puts all of it together to the left or to the right, like you just heard. Let's hear when we pan a stereo channel. You hear that? I'm only getting that sound. When I go to the right, and that is again the difference between mono and a stereo as well. It's actually called balance now. Whenever I work with stereo, and this is the same case with physical mixers, physical hardware mixers that we do sound with. Some of those channels are stereo channels. They've got stereo inputs, and normally you'll find them to the last input. Say you've got a 24 channel mixer, you'll find it's channels 20, 21, 22, and 24. They've got written 21/22. 23/24. It's a stereo input like this, which has got 2 input jacks on the top, and the left input will go to the left speaker, the right input will go to the right speaker. And when you use that pan knob above the fader, this is actually a balance knob. When you balance it to the left, it doesn't take all of both of those inputs, push it towards the left or the right. You're actually balancing between the left input and the right input. But with a mono channel, you send the information because there's only one source to left or right. So guys, shortly, that's the differences between mono and stereo. Just to sum it up, we always use stereo channels except when we are recording from our audio interface, and like vocals, we'll be recording mono, but we'll be mixing them into sending all of that things, effects channels, groups, into stereo buses. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. That's all for now. Cheers, guys.